Hello, Gummers, and welcome to another episode of Fergie's Gum. My name's Nathan Irvine, and I am joined by Mr. Paul Cropper, who was doing an extreme close-up of his camera a couple of seconds ago. He's not doing it now,
Yeah.
but how are you
Morning.
doing, mate?
I'm all right, pal. I've just realised I've not got my Fergie's gun mug. Oh, what's he doing?
It's
What's he
all right,
doing?
mate. It's all
It's
right.
a
It's
brand,
not,
isn't
not
it?
a problem.
Get the
I've
brand.
got a
Yeah.
I've got a Camelback bottle here as well, so it's not it's not right. We're not doing our branding correctly, are we? But there we go. Just if you could just cover the mug while you're drinking out of it, that'd be preferable. Okay.
It's more about the
Um,
football, isn't it? Talk about the
it,
football.
exactly. We're here to talk about Manchester United and nothing else really. So let's crack on with that. We were going to start elsewhere, but I think the best thing to do is to start with the Athletics deal sheet, which comes out at a very convenient time for me and you when we're recording this podcast. Laurie Whitwell doing the Lord's work on the Athletic and writing up all of the latest transfer rumours and the insider gossip at Manchester United. The latest one, I mean, Ahmad dropped it into the group chat before. Did it make you happy? Did it make you sad to see some of the little stories in there? I will go through them in a second, but I just wanted your initial reaction to seeing that.
No, I thought it was spot on. To be fair, basically we're not doing much. Interested FC, as some
There
people
we,
say. It's
there we go.
don't surprise me. Don't surprise the way the transfer window's gone. Frustrating, bit slow,
Mm,
bit tedious. Is there going to be like an explosion at the end of it? I hope so. We'll see.
Who knows? We can all hope for that. But the big one that was on that sheet was the Ollie Watkins one, which I actually heard yesterday before we actually went on air on the show. Danny Simpson again was on last week. He was on this week. He was talking about lots of different things from around the Premier League. But he was talking about Ollie Watkins possibly being a potential signing for United because it was insider information about that. That was dangled in the Athletics article and then taken away almost as quickly as it was announced. So we were rumoured to be interested in him, and then it was, but they haven't got the money for him. So that was that was quickly taken away. Can't really say much about that. I think last season was probably the season that we was going to get Ollie Watkins if that deal was going to happen. Benjamin Sesko, he's got more potential and sell-on value, so I'm not really bothered about that one. The other interesting one that's going out was Ethan Wheatley, who's been linked with Everton. Now, my first thoughts on that after the Harry Amass news last week, where he was talking about him potentially leaving for just 6 million quid, was how much would United sell him for, and how much should United sell him for? I mean, has he got one Premier League appearance? I think I can't remember, but Ethan Wheatley, what are you thinking?
Yeah, go and play first team football. If there's a Premier League club willing to offer you that, just I completely get it. If you're not going to start in the first team, you need to go and flourish elsewhere, don't you? So price wise, the price wise for some of these kids, other clubs get top whack, don't they? So they get like 30 million and stuff like that. So I wouldn't be surprised if United accepted 8 or something. But is that the going price for where he is? I like him. I like him as a player. I think he'll go on and be a successful player, but probably not United, like a lot of this team. But 6 to 8 million, 10 million tops.
Oof. Yeah, 10 million's very top end for that. I think it's probably going to be somewhere around the Harry Amass, 6 million plus 4, and then it does add up to 10, but based on future like landmarks or whatever it is, targets, KPIs being hit. KPIs. I've never really thought about that before. The targets that they set in contracts, they are just literally the corporate world's KPIs, key point indicators. That's all they are. Anyway,
I'm
little
glad you
sidetrack
played
there.
that up because,
Yeah.
I had no idea what a KPI was. Like you have to see a doctor for that.
No problem. It's just an ointment, mate. It's all right. No invasive surgery needed. The other thing that came off there, and I just mentioned him a second ago, was about Harry Amass. It was slightly grey area with him and Toby Collier. It said that they are both available. Didn't actually say that Harry Amass and Toby Collier are for sale. It just said they're available for transfer. Again, before literally last week, I was talking about Toby Collier being a really good squad player for Manchester United and getting into the team this season. And then I think we stopped recording and it came out Oh, he's up for sale. Right. Okay. Brilliant. Thanks for that. Great timing. I'm not going to ask you how much I think we'll get for these players, but these seem like decent squad players for Manchester United. But I guess you have to trust a Michael Carrick and the coaching staff to be able to look at these players and say they're not good enough or they are good enough. And if they're available to be sold, the same with Ethan Wheatley as well. They've been deemed as we can get money for these kids now. They've got no chance of making the first team. So with that in mind, it's probably the right thing to do, isn't it?
It's probably more a question of timing for the kids, really. Some of them are maybe 18 months too old, or, like the likes of Gabriel and Shea Lacey are at the perfect age now just to bring them in and bring them out. Some of these others, they need first team football. They're not going to get it at United. So, yeah, I keep saying you just go and flourish and then sell on clauses, maybe come back to the club when you've got 150 appearances in the Premier League, but they need to go and play first team football. The Collier one, you can understand, he's probably what, 8th or 9th in the pecking order, centre midfield. So you can understand, yeah, I get that.
Have
The
we,
Harry
have we
Amass
got
one,
eight? Have we got 8 or 9 midfielders?
we have, but we're including the likes of Ugarte in there as well. So yeah. But the Amass one, do you think who's the backup left back? Dorgu? Surely there's a place in the squad for Amass, but as he showed when he went out on loan, he needs to be playing regular football just to reach where his potential is, and he's not going to get that at Old Trafford because, once again, biggest club in the world, you need top players, not potential at the minute.
Yeah, I think that's true. And the same with Tyler Fredrickson as well, who made his move to Lausanne, who is owned by Ineos in the Swiss league. He went there last week, I think it was. He signed for them, which is a great move for him. And again, it's one of those ones that's probably got a buyback clause in it, because they want to make sure that they get the most money for him. Same that they did with, what's he called? The lad who, I always forget his name, who went to Benfica, and then Benfica sold him for 20 billion quid to Real Madrid. What's he called? The left back?
Fernandez, Alvaro McDoofy. Yeah, can't remember his name myself. Yeah,
Carreras.
that's the
it.
chap.
Yeah.
Yeah, we should have kept him, shouldn't we?
We should have done. Although he fell out of favour at Real Madrid. He wasn't.
He did,
I don't think he
actually.
was playing. I don't think he was playing by
Yeah.
the end of it. I don't think fancied him. And wasn't there a few things about him getting punched by Valverde as well? I don't know.
Oh, they're always fighting in the changing rooms, aren't they? Love it.
They were all punch bags at one point for Valverde. So, yeah, you never know. Apart from Tchouaméni, who just, bobbed and weaved and stuck one on him. So, again, yeah, I get it. These players do have to move on, and you have to trust Michael Carrick and the other people at Manchester United to make those decisions on who should be leaving and who shouldn't. I just hope that they do put in, and they've learned their lesson, that these buyback clauses need to be put into every single sale, and the percentages need to be put in as well, because that's a good way to make money off any future big money sales that they might do as well. The one thing that I was thinking though with Collier and Amass is that I still think they've got a part to play, and I don't think they'll end up leaving until United know what's happened with all these other dominoes that are currently wobbling, ready to go. I still believe Marcus Rashford is the first domino that goes before right, now we can buy a left winger, and we don't need a left back, and then we need a midfielder that can play there, and we can move this person as a striker. So I think we're still waiting for that, and that's probably going to go until the end of the season, end of the transfer window. Sorry. We're going to be waiting and waiting and waiting to make all of these moves, and we're going to get more and more frustrated each episode. But we were talking about this as well last night on air, and I think me and you was talking about it on WhatsApp potentially. Can't remember. My brain is fried. Been up since 4. Myles Lewis-Skelly, who's also been linked to Manchester United, and Lewis Hall is the big one from Newcastle United. The two of those, Danny Simpson said something very interesting last night, and I hadn't really thought about it before. The MLS one with Lewis-Skelly, he's been playing, I know he started in the Champions League for Arsenal, but he's been playing at centre midfield as well.
Yes.
So if United aren't willing to stump up the cash for another midfielder, he would be the 2-for-1 bargain option that United probably would go for. And it's probably the type of signing that you would go, right, okay, 70 million, we've got 2 positions covered for 70 million. I know you've got strong
Really?
thoughts on that. I'm just gonna say, you can. I know you was gonna say. I want you to say what you said in the WhatsApp messages as well, because I know you got opinions on this. But then Chris pointed out, the host of the show, he also pointed out Lewis Hall played there as well. He played midfield. It was Graham Potter that moved him to left back when he was at Chelsea. So I think those 2 players, you can see why they're being identified, and you can see why it's gone really quiet on the midfielder front, and you can see why. And another thing from the deal sheet that Laurie Whitwell wrote about, they're not sure whether or not they're going to go in for another midfielder again, a third midfielder,
Yeah.
because they've been priced out at 60 million. But what are you thinking about that? Myles Lewis-Skelly and Lewis Hall for those 2 positions.
I can understand it. Lewis Skelly, he does look comfortable at centre midfield, so I can understand what Danny's saying. My belief is if you're building a team to go on and challenge for things, you go and get the best person for that position. So you go and get, if you need a left back, you go and get the best left back, not somebody that can play there. You go, no, we need the best left back, and for me, that's Lewis Hall. I think he's the best left back. He can also, like you said, play in centre midfield. I don't think he's as good as Lewis Skelly in there, but he's technically good enough to play in there. The Lewis Skelly one came up about a year ago, didn't it, when there was rumours with him? And we discussed it, and why would Arsenal let him go? Why? It was a strange one. But looking at his stat, he only played 10 games last season.
Well, I think
yeah. So
he,
that's why they will let him go, because they've got a big enough squad to say, well, he's not getting in the team. I don't think you're going to get anywhere near 70 million. Let's get 45, 50 million for him, which seems to be United's budget around there for players now, for squad players. And
yeah.
then you can see why United are looking at him, because he's potential, he's young, he's Premier League proven, which is the model that they want. I just feel like if you're going to go and get a player like that, I feel Lewis Hall's levels above him, and I feel like his ceiling's levels above where Lewis Skelly could get to as well. Just pay the extra 15, 20 million just to get him there. And he's sorted for 10 years. I keep saying it, it's easily done. But Newcastle now, in their position, are hanging on, aren't they, so everything they can. They don't want to sell it.
I think that's the issue now as well, because obviously with Eddie Howe leaving, resigning, they've got a new manager that's coming in, Yesler, I think it is, from
I believe so, yeah.
Al Ali. I think bringing this guy in, there's got to be a sort of PR spin on things now. So selling off their assets is not a good look for Newcastle United. They've rejected a bid for Bruno Guimaraes, apparently from Arsenal. I still think he'll leave. I still think he'll end up going. But it's just a negotiation thing now. And Lewis Hall is probably one of those big assets that they won't want to let go of, simply because, well, he's one of their star players. And they're buying youthful players to bring into the squad. It looks like they've changed tact. They're looking for players that have got potential to change things. And it's an exciting time. It's a bit depressing that Eddie Howe's gone. I think he'd taken that club as far as he possibly could. But they know now that they've got to change things up. So I think if there's going to be a battle for Lewis Hall, it's going to go right up until transfer deadline day. Maybe United could offer them some players in return if they're looking at youth. I don't know.
Well,
Maybe
the
they'd be
rumor was
interested in that.
true. Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, the rumor was that United were looking at offering 45 million for him. I don't get that. Just go and, if you want him, and I have to keep saying, I know it's a negotiation. You save this money here, save that money there, but just go and pay 70 million and just bring him in, and then move on to your next signing, please. That's the way it is. I know football business doesn't work like that, but United are playing a calm game, aren't they? They seem to be. Whether there's no panic, nobody knows what's going on, nobody knows who we're actually interested in, and it's just going to come from nowhere, right? Well, there we go, it's done. I just hope Lewis Hall's on that list, because I think he's outstanding.
I think the major issue that you keep pointing out there is like, go and pay the money and then you've got your player. They haven't got the money. That's the problem.
True. Yes.
Like, it's like going to the corner shop and going, "Can I have this Twix?" "Yeah, how much is it?" "Well, 80p. I've only got 40. Here you go." Trying to hand it over. Well, no, you can't have the Twix. You're not allowed it. it's the same thing, and I don't think United have the funds to be able to do it, or as you say, because things are very calm and similar to when Benjamin Sesko came in, we was like, well, we're not in the market for him. We're not going to be able to buy him. Newcastle have got all this money. They're going to blow us out of the water with this, and then all of a sudden, turned it around and managed to get him over the line. So there's still time. I'm a little bit down on some of those names that are on there in terms of incomings and outgoings, but I think United could still spring a surprise that just gets everyone on board. And I think they're playing the long game, trying to get this done. Frustrating for us because we're impatient. The last ones that I did want to talk about was that there's interest in that was on this deal sheet from the Athletic. Xerxes, Radek Vitek, and Altay Bayındır with three other players that could end up leaving. But my issue with all of those three being linked, because you think, oh, brilliant, we'll bring some money in for them and then we can spend it on Lewis Hall, then we can spend it on Myles Lewis-Skelly, get them both, or spend 30 million on Sander Berge, whatever it is. But they'll all be going out on loan. And once they're out on loan at these teams, as we've seen previously, they'll go, no, we don't want to buy him. Whether we've got an obligation to buy or not, they'll be like,
we're still not doing it.
Yeah, he's not very good and his wages are massive. So if Xerxes goes, we definitely need to get a striker. Vitek and Bayındır, we've already got goalkeepers. I don't think that's going to be an issue at all. But yeah, let's, fingers crossed, we can get some money for some players. That's all I ask. Snapdragon Cup 2026 champions, Manchester United. How does that sound?
Easy. Love it.
Well, was it easy though? Because that win over Atletico Madrid was the first time that Manchester United have ever beaten Atletico Madrid in 6 attempts. Did you know that?
Is that true? No, I did not. Stato.
I can't take credit for that one. That was Andy Mitten that said that on the Talk of the Devils podcast. But yeah, Brian Mbeumo, 2 goals, 2-1 to Manchester United. Did you watch the game? And what were your big takeaways from it?
Decent game, to be fair. It was for a friendly. Atmosphere was better than it has been for the rest of them. Same back four, decent. The midfield too looked like they're building up a good relationship. Shea Lacey looked lively. A few good turns, few good touches from him. Yeah, not a bad performance, to be fair. I think a few people are getting a bit carried away. But they were, and there was an average Atletico Madrid team. But I'm like that in pre-season friendlies. Everyone seems to go, oh, look at this guy's brilliant. It's pre-season. Come on, calm down.
Is there someone in particular that they was getting carried away with?
I heard Mbeumo. I saw, yeah. Go on. I'm not going to be too harsh on it. But Mason Mount, everyone's saying, no, Mason Mount played well. They do. Santos played well, and like I said, they are building up a decent relationship there. Is that going to be the partnership we start the season with? Looks like it. Looks like it probably will be. I keep being told Lenny Oro is the next big thing at right back. Still to be convinced. I saw a thing about I think Rio Ferdinand said it, that he's not actually, Michael Carrick doesn't see him as a right back. He sees him as another centre defender, just 5 yards further out to the right. And I watched it a bit more this morning just to keep an eye on it. And he's not being asked to bomb on, because in the chat a few of the lads were saying, is he good enough there at right back? And I thought, depends what kind of right back you're asking him to be. If you can ask him to be a Dani Alves and bomb on the outside and make overlap, no, he's not going to do that. If you're going to ask him to sit in a back four, let your left back bomb on and then he sits in. Yeah, do that, fine. And also what I noticed was Mason Mount was moving out. He was then being the backup to Ahmad, as you know, did that inside. And then Lenny Oro just asked, just sit back, mate, just defend. That's all we want. If he's being asked to do that, he can definitely do a job there. Not the way I thought Michael Carrick plays football. But there we go.
I think it's needs must at the moment, though, isn't it, with Lenny Oro at right back, because there are no other players to play right back. I know Diogo Dalot's back at Manchester United now. I think Mazraoui came back as well for training, so they might start against PSG, which is this weekend. I think it is. Is that again? Is that over in Sweden again? Is it another game over in Sweden? Potentially, anyway. It doesn't matter. We don't need the details. We're not here to do details. We're here to just talk around Manchester United loosely. but but Lenny Yoro's an interesting one. I'm not convinced of him at right back. I think he's gaining more experience by playing right back because there might be a time during the season, and we'll talk about this later, where an injury does happen and he's forced out there. Because if you haven't got anyone that can play that position, you're screwed basically. So yeah, let's see.
Is it? Yeah.
I'm not going to rule anything out because it's pre-season, so I'm not going to get too happy about performances. I'm not going to get too upset about performances. It's just about getting minutes on the pitch so that they're ready to go when we face Hull at the start of the season. With regards to the Andre Santos and Mason Mount thing, it's interesting because we always used to have Andreas Pereira as the preseason Pirlo. And every time I see Mount and Andre Santos and the clamour for, oh, look at them, they're brilliant, they're really good, I always have to just douse myself with that bucket of cold water, remembering that Pereira used to turn it on every preseason. And he's, top professional, good player, never good enough for Manchester United, had a decent career in the Premier League with Fulham. But that's the type of thing you don't want in pre-season. You don't want to have your hopes lifted up like that, and then it's like, turns out he's bad.
Unless you Mason Mount, because fair play to him, he is playing really well, and he's playing really well in that position, and he's doing everything that he can do to say, no, I want to be part of this Manchester United team. And like I said, I think he will start the season in centre midfield with Santos.
It's one of those interesting things with Mason Mount, because you can see that he's incredibly influential around that team. Like, you can see the respect that he has from the younger players, even from the older heads that are around him. They look at him and they're like, well, he can do it all. And I think there was a compilation, and I know you never look into these compilations as a barometer of how good a player is, but there was a compilation. I think it had done about like 4 million views. It's a pre-season one, and it was of Mason Mount's best bits. And to be fair, he looked bloody good. It was hard to doubt him playing against Atletico Madrid. He looked all right. But and again, we'll talk about injuries and stuff in the next segment, but it's one of those things I can't get too excited about it, because we've all seen what happens. We've all seen
a bit
what
fragile,
happens,
isn't it? But I don't think he's ever been questioned. His talent, his ability, his willingness, his work rate. He is a very, very good midfielder. Whether he can play in a two, he is playing in a two now, and he's showing that he can do it. Can he do it in the Premier League on a regular basis, week in, week out? That's what we need to see from him. And I'm sure he's determined to do it. I really do hope he stays fit. There were a few, Shea Lacey as well from the game, mate. Some of his touches are unbelievable.
Really?
He is class, that lad. He just needs to be dipped in, dipped out. Please don't send him out on loan. I'd rather he just got a few more games at United. Champions League, 20 minutes here, 15 minutes there. Cup games. Let him get 15, 20 games at United this season. Dip him in. Don't put too much pressure on him. Michael Carrick once again said that this week that he gives him options. So if the teams are obviously Bruno Fernandes is our best player. If teams are looking at building their defence around stop Bruno Fernandes, Michael Carrick was saying I could bring Shea Lacey on, put him in that position, put Bruno elsewhere, and it takes their tactics gone, blows them out of the water. So he does give you options, because he's got that bit. You can see it in Shea Lacey. He's got that bit of magic, that something different that players are just born with. It's not something you can teach that, and he's shown it in the youth team. He's shown it for years in the youth team, to be honest with you. Can finish, can score, can create goals. His little bit of trickery for the penalty to win the penalty was brilliant, and he has got that in his locker. Yeah, class.
I think he's going to be in and around the squad. I don't think he's going to go out on loan anywhere. I think he's going to be here so that they can see what they can do with him, and I think that's the best thing to do. Like, because you send him out on loan, you don't know what his progress is going to be like. If he ends up at a Norwich City, then what? It's not always a great move. And if Michael Carrick believes that he can get something out of him, then it's best to keep him around the team. I do think he'll be on the bench for the start of the season.
Yeah, he's also got that bit of nastiness in him as well. He went through a few players and he chased through, and he does leave his foot in. That'll be the scouse in him, that mate. But we love that, don't we? We love United players. Rooney had it, and we love that snap. We love that aggression. He'll need that in his career as well.
I think he will.
Good on the kid.
The other player, I know we talked about him just very briefly, but Brian Mbeumo, he scored 2 goals in the game. He's one of those players that this season coming, I know that they haven't got AFCON. Ahmad, another one. They both started off at a canter, were superb when they started last season, both of them. And then they died off in terms of their ability to change a game. And Bumo picked it up a little bit towards the end of the season again, as the close of the season. But he's the type of player that I think a lot of Manchester United's success next season will be reliant on him firing on all cylinders from beginning to end. I don't think he can have that patch of games where he's ineffective. He needs to be on the pitch. Same with Cunha as well. It's not just the AFCON lads, but same with Cunha as well. They need to be active and contributing, and they need to be better than last season. Simple as that. You don't want them going into the season going, well, if he just does that, what he did last season. No, you need to be better than what you've currently showed us. And I think Mbumo's one of those players where if he can have his scoring streak, scoring every couple of games like he has been doing and assisting, I think he's going to be massively important for Manchester United's success next season.
Yeah, I know he got 2 goals at the weekend, took his penalty brilliantly. And he's a little bit of a flit action on it. But he's not an out-and-out forward, is he? That's not his position. He doesn't seem comfortable there. Neither does Cunha. And that's what's also in the transfer window frustrating for me, because where's the goals going to come from? Where's this natural forward? And we've got Sesko, and you're once again going to be asking a lot of a young kid coming back from an injury to be the main man. And he needs help in there. The goals, we said it last year, were getting spread around. So when Mbeumo wasn't doing it, Cunha was coming up with goals. Bruno obviously had this amazing season. We can't be saying Bruno's going to have the same season as last year. So you're dead right in what you say. We need Mbeumo to be stepping up to the plate as the main goal scoring threat, because that is what he is at United. He is the main goal scoring threat.
Obviously, the big news that came out of that game was that JJ Gabriel made his debut finally in front of the roaring fans in Sweden. 15 years old and 299 days, and he becomes Manchester United's youngest player, but the caveat, in an unofficial match. So he's not in an official game. So he's not made his debut in the Premier League yet, so he can't get that award just yet. How was he on his day? Did he have many touches? I didn't watch the game, obviously. I watched the highlights, but you watched the whole thing. What was he like?
Yeah, he looks like what he does when he comes on to me. He looks natural. Just looks like he's naturally born to play the game. They looked a bit scared of him, to be honest with you. They put it about him a bit, but he's got that tenacious ability just to get on with it. And he keeps hold of the ball. Maybe he kept hold of it a bit too much sometimes, to be fair, when he could have laid it off. But he was keen to make an impression. Can't fault the kid. Brilliant from him. This is what United's built on, isn't it, youth? And he is around world football. You won't find many people that have been spoke of like he is as a kid, and a starlet, wonder kid. Yeah, and you will find if in the next 6 months, 6 to 18 months, the whole of world football's going to know about JJ Gabriel, because he is that good.
We talked about this earlier. We talked about Mason Mount and his potential pre-season stardom fading when he starts the actual season because of injury. It's one of the big things, I think, at Manchester United for next season. I'm simply praying for an injury-free campaign, because I think there's too many players that have missed too many games for Manchester United that have really derailed their momentum over the past 4, 5, 6 years, possibly. And it's one of those things that you look at that performance from Mason Mount at the weekend, and you're like, that's brilliant. Like, I want that every single week. And we hear all of these stories about him, about being a model professional. You mentioned that before. He can do it on the pitch. He's a very good talent. He's a very good inspiration. He's a leader on the pitch, which you don't particularly associate with him. But when you watch him closely, you can see how the players all listen to him. So there's all of these things. But I just want to read some stats out for you now. Some of the players that we've missed in the last few seasons. So Mason Mount, obviously, we're talking about him. It's one of the reasons why I'm praying to whoever that his knees stay good, or his back, or his head, or whatever it is. But Mason Mount, since 2023, has missed 394 days and 70 games for Manchester United. That's almost 2 full seasons in a Premier League, you know, just in the Premier League, not FA Cup or League Cup or anything like that. You know, that's a lot of games to miss. Lisandro Martinez since 2022, another guy that can't stay fit. I know he's had some atrocious injuries. It's not his fault. Let me be clear. It's none of these guys' fault that they can't stay fit. It's not like they're out boozing or they're clumsy and they're always getting into bad tackles. It's just unfortunate events that lead to these things. But Lisandro Martinez is 2022, 626 days he's missed, 108 games.
Really?
I know he did his cruciate knee ligament, which was the one that took him out for a very long time. So to even get him back on the pitch after that is a huge thing. And then this one, and he's not massively injury prone, but it's just one of those. Last season basically highlighted the fragility of this lad, and I think it's an injury that we'll look at and go, ooh, it's a back injury, so you never know what's going to happen with it. But Matheus de Ligt, since 2024, 317 days he's missed and 35 games, which when you look at the 35 games, you think it's not too bad. But that was pretty much all last season. It was about 30 games last season. So he's missed one here and there each season since 2024. But you think about all of those players, Mason Mount, you probably look at him and you go, well, we didn't need him. And that sounds awful, but we didn't need him. We got Bruno there. Where does he play? What's his natural position? But Lisandro Martinez and de Ligt, especially last season, he was on a tear, so influential for Manchester United, and then he's out, mystery, back surgery, back on the grass, in a wheelchair. Who knows where he is? But
new hair.
I know exactly, yeah. But out of those players, they're all big misses, aren't they? If you can keep all three of them fit for next season, that's huge, right?
Massive, absolutely massive. We've seen it in a few places. I'm sure everyone's seen it over social media about the injuries, and that's why we're talking about, because it plagues us every single season. It has done for 3 or 4 seasons. You go through that there, and they're not the only ones, are they? You could add. I know Luke Shaw had a great season last season to stay fit. We're asking, but he's another one that can be fragile. You look at Benjamin Sesko. Benjamin Sesko picked up knocks here and there, and he spends 2 or 3 weeks out on the sideline, and he had a stop-start season for a young kid like that as well. And I know he's bulked up and he's done that. That might make him even more injury prone. We don't know. So it's another one where you think, yeah, he's taking a few knocks there. You can deal with form. You can deal with players not playing well, etc., and things like that. When some of your main players are missing for months, it doesn't have to take you out your stride as a team. Martinez is huge. We all know he's one of the best ball-playing centre-halves, and you've seen in the World Cup how good and what his quality is like. And we're a better team when he's in the team. We are. Matheus de Ligt, like you said, was flying at it. He was looking like he was going to be our player of the season at one point, because he was there, and then he gets another knock and it knocks him. And then, all right, we've got Maguire who can come in, who does play well, but you then change in the way that the team plays. Mason Mount, another one, is an asset to the team when he's fit. And like you rightly said, it's not their fault. The medical staff at Old Trafford now have got a big job on their hands, because if you can keep those 4 or 5 players fit, you then go, well, we don't need a centre half. We've got Aiden Heaven and we've got Martinez there. I saw Martinez, he's back out on the training field. I thought it was a worse injury than that. So really good to see him back out there. I love him as a player, absolutely love him, but with that aggression that he's got will lead to him getting injuries, because he puts himself in there. He does do that. And he's not as young as he once was. Once you start picking up injuries, you tend to find another thing goes, and then your back goes, and as you get older, that's just what happens. Roy Keane says it all the time, but Bruno Fernandes, his main asset is he's always available. He'll play every single game for you, and that's not normal in football. And one of your biggest assets has got to be, I'm fit, Gaffer, I'll play. Some players can play through niggles. Some players will not, and they will not risk themselves. I'm not saying that's what some United players are doing, but what this means is the medical staff have got a big part to play in the season for Manchester United.
Yeah, 100%. And I think, not all players can be like Bruno Fernandes. I mean, he was out with, was it a knee injury that he picked up at Burnley and then he was back 3 games later. And
Yeah.
it's like, what's going on here?
Yeah.
That is not normal. But it needs that consistency. Like anyone that's played sports in a team before, they know that when they have those certain players around them and when they're picking up momentum, that things are going great, and you don't want one of your lads to be out. You don't want your teammate to be on the sideline, because it distracts as well. Because it ripples through the team. And if Lisandro Martinez, so influential, even Matthias de Ligt, these players are incredibly influential. Even Mason Mount, because I just mentioned how inspirational he is on the pitch. As soon as those players go out, it's like, where do you turn to? Because not everyone can lead by example when they're on the pitch. Harry Maguire does a good job of it, but then if Harry Maguire goes off the pitch, who are you looking at then? Bruno Fernandes. Bruno Fernandes isn't on the pitch, then what? Is Matheus Cunha the person that you look to? If Mason Mount's not on the pitch, it's a difficult one, because not every team, and this isn't just Manchester United, not every team is built with leaders. It's something that is, as you said before about Shea Lacey, natural talent is built into him. Same with JJ Gabriel. But also, it's difficult to kind of get players that have that natural ability to just know when to talk, when to do something, when to arm around the shoulder, when to instruct, do this, do that. And without those players and without that consistency, it just drops. So I think I'm hoping and praying that the likes of Mason Mount and the likes of Lisandro Martinez and de Ligt can stay fit, because it just means so much more.
Yeah, it's not just that. For the players themselves, if you have a good preseason, I've been there myself, you have a great preseason and you fly in and you think, right, got to go into the season, looking forward to it. And then you get another knock, and it's heartbreaking for them. It really is. And it knocks them that much because they've had the injury. You're like, right, okay, psychologically, you get yourself over the injury. Then you do the rehab, and then you think, right, okay, I'll get 10, 15 minutes here. Then you get back in the first team and you think, right, I'm absolutely flying here. You're confident. And then you get another knock. And that could be you for 6 months. And psychologically, it just ruins you and it wears you out as a footballer. And that's where Mason Mount was when he broke down in tears last time he went off. And all of us United fans are like, oh, no, don't. We don't want to see anybody injured, but someone who keeps getting recurring injuries, you feel for them. You really do. Like I said, I've been there myself for bad injuries, and it's really more psychologically ruining than it is for the. They've got the money. They don't care about the money. They care about playing football, and that's what all these footballers want to do. None of them want to be sat there on the sideline watching. I want to be involved, and the work that they put in to get themselves to a position to be back involved, and then these setbacks, it is heartbreaking for them. But like you say, if we can keep them fit, and we've already seen it now, do United need another midfielder if Mason Mount's fit? Do they? Or it's a gamble, and that's a gamble that only the manager is going to be able to say, no, I'm going to put my faith in you, Mason Mount, and you're going to have a good season. And he will love that, Mason Mount. If you bring another midfielder now, he'll be like, just played every single minute of this pre-season. What else can I do? Yeah, it's a tough one for United, and that's the balance you've got to see. What does Michael Carrick do? Just a shout out for the injuries. Luca, he's a lad who played football with. He's just saw his ACL, I believe, and he's ripped a bit of the bone off. So chin up, mate. So he's got it. He's another one who's just said he's had a good pre-season and he's just done his knee. So yeah, feel bad for him.
Awful. Yeah. Well, get well soon. Let's hope that Manuel Ugarte has taken all the bad injury luck out of Manchester United this season. I wish him well as well. I saw he was walking around on crutches. Someone cruelly put underneath. Looks like he's gained a yard of pace. Could Manchester United recreate the class of 92 with what they've currently got in the youth system, mate?
Yes, I think is the answer to that. Not easily done, is it? Because that was some talent came through that team, went through that youth team. But we've spoke about the kids for a good 2 years while I've been doing this, and the potential's always been there. Some of the talent that's in that team, and now you're seeing little bits of it come into the first team. And last year I was play the kids, and now I need to take a little bit of a step back and go, we're not buying in the transfer window. Well, no, because you're playing the kids, you idiot. You've been saying play the kids for the past 12 months, and now you're going, well, buy someone. Well, I thought you wanted to play the kids, so you can't win. Yes, I think I'll answer your question straight out. Yes, because I think some of those players are Shea Lacey, Jim Thwaites, Noah Ajayi, JJ Gabriel. Probably not quite ready, JJ Gabriel, physically or mentally or maturity-wise. The others, I think, yeah. If you look at Shea Lacey coming in, he will push now for the first time. And he came off the bench, didn't he, last season? And some people are like, who's this kid? Oh, United fans that have been watching the U team, we've known about him for years and years. It was just a matter of whether he could physically get up to the demands of being at a top club. A few people like send him out on loan, will he do this? Then they've decided just to keep him around the club. He did have a couple of injury problems when he was younger, and that's probably why they decided to keep him at the club. But then when he's gone back into the team, he's a standout at that in that under-21 team. He really is. Noah Ajayi, pace, power, ability, goal scorer from the wing. Maybe that's another reason why we've not gone and got an out-and-out left winger. Marcus Rashford comes back. Is Ajayi ready to be the understudy to that position? Yes, I think he is. So that's another one where you go, oh, we don't need left winger now. We've got Tynan Thompson coming through as well. I've said it for a while, but I think Jim Thwaites is a standout there. I think he's outstanding. I know there's a few clips going on. Came on at the weekend, played in the preseason game, and he just pings the ball around. He's like a Paul Scholes and David Beckham mixture. I love watching centre midfielders. The way he passes the ball is ping. And it's just beautiful to watch. His first touch is outstanding. He can turn on a sixpence, plays football the United way, forward, switches. We've not got many centre midfielders that have got that switch in us. They can switch it out to a full, but he can do that for fun. He could do that all day, this kid. And that's why I said earlier about don't get another centre. Do we need another centre midfielder? Mason Mount stays fit. Then you got Jim Thwaites to come through. Really exciting time. And Michael Carrick, towards the back end of last season, going watching the kids more and more when he was in and around, and he's probably going, you know what, I might give these a chance. And if that works out, Michael Carrick's his credibility as a manager. If you bring kids through at Manchester United and you do bring through another generation, that's his generation, and that's Michael Carrick is put that's my generation. He'll love that. He'll love bringing them through. And then what that also does, it says to other kids in the youth team, if I can perform well here, I can get in that first team at Manchester United. It shows them the way that you can go in the trajectory. The club's always been built on bringing kids through. So, really excited. Get them in a team.
Busby Babes, Fergie's fledglings, Carrick's kids. There we go.
Hey, yeah.
There we go. That's what it could be. The reason why I asked that, obviously, the question there about United recreating the class of '92 is that I think on some sort of level, the old romantic in me would rather Manchester United bring through a Shea Lacey, a JJ Gabriel, Noah Ajayi, even Jacob Devaney, who I think is a very good player as well. They bring those players through, and you're attached to them. Do you know what I mean? It's easier to get attached to players that have come through the academy, that have come up through the youth ranks and are then playing in the first team, than it is to go and spend. And I know this might sound like copium, but you go and spend 80 million on Sandro Tonali to play centre mid. Is that the same? Do you have that same feeling for that player, or do you know that he's there because you gave him the best offer? When it comes to someone like Jim Thwaites, as you say, if you're curious about what Jim Thwaites can do, you're watching this, you listen to this, go and check out I think it's on Twitter, isn't it, and Instagram, the compilation that someone has put on there about the Paul Scholes regen, because some of the clips on that, the passes, there's some bounce passes that he does in there as well, where you're like, what? How's he pinging that over?
Set pieces, Nathan.
Yeah.
Set pieces are very, very David Beckham as well. And just the whip he can get, his corners, his delivery from corners is outstanding for a young kid. Yeah, and them things, yeah.
But I think, just going back to my point, I think it's like, if we're not going to sign any players, if we're not going to be bringing any more players in, then yeah, Carrick would cement his legacy at Manchester United by giving a break to these young lads. And I think he's probably more likely to do that, having been at Manchester United for so long, having worked under Fergie for so long, seeing what Manchester United is about and bringing these youth players through. I think he's probably looking for the experience. We've talked about this before. The players from the youth team coming in 92 were doing well because they had big characters around them. They had like top players around them that was going, right, clip round the ear, don't do that again. Get the ball forward. This is the United way. And I think he's trying to do that by bringing in experience like Yuri Tillemans. That, let's not forget, he's got massive experience. He's been playing the game since was he captain at 16, 17 of Anderlecht?
Something similar, like silly like that. Yeah.
So Yuri Tillemans is no mug. He's coming in that team to be able to help bring these young players on. If United don't buy any more players, yes, I'm going to be annoyed at Ineos. Yes, I'm going to be annoyed at the Glazers for hamstringing Manchester United once again. But if that means if we go through this season and finish top four and Shea Lacey and Jim Thwaites have established themselves in that squad, or any of those players that we just mentioned, I'd be more than happy, because that means that we've saved that money. It's not my money, I don't care, spend it. But you know what I mean? You save that money and you've actually brought through your own superstars. So I've talked about this long ago when it looked like Kobe Mainu might be leaving under Ruben Amorim, like they were going to sell him. I was like, that's me in football done. If you're going to get rid of one of the kids that's come through the system that loves playing for Manchester United, and you're going to get rid of him because you don't have a place for him, I can't. That. Me and Manchester United might be done on a professional level. But there you go. I'd love to see this come through, and it's not like there has to be a balance to it. Of course, there has to be transfers. You have to bring in experience. You have to bring in top players, and then you sprinkle the kids around them. But in terms of answering the question that I asked you before, can Manchester United recreate the class of '92? I think they've already got it. It's just being brave enough to play them alongside
It,
more experienced players.
well, it's another golden generation in it. No doubt about it. They are a golden generation, these kids, and there's probably 7 or 8 of them that have got the ability to play for Manchester United at a first team level. The issue, like you've quite rightly said, is the players that are already in the first team. Are they good enough to allow these kids to come in, and will they cover for them? Do you understand what I mean?
Yeah.
These kids are going to have an 8 out of 10 game, then they're going to have a 2 out of 10, then they're going to have a 6 out of 10 game. So the team needs to be flying around them. The likes of Mbeumo needs to be scoring 20 goals. Cunha needs to be scoring 15 goals to then allow Shea Lacey to have an off game. And he's not going to be flying all season. And this is where United fans, we do put pressure on kids. When I was at Old Trafford, and I think it was Shea Lacey, he came on and he gets you excited, and then he gives the ball away, and it's like, no, don't do that. He's a young kid. He's going to make mistakes, and they learn from making mistakes. That's how you become an adult in football, is by making mistakes and by learning. Got to allow them to make mistakes, but we need the team to be winning at the same time as this kid getting his experience. I think a lot of it also comes down to where the club's ambition are. If you're happy, it was going to be the question I actually asked you. You've answered it before. Is the club's ambition to be, we want a youthful team and we're happy to finish top 6? I think we're quite capable of doing that and bringing the kids through. The ambition at Manchester United should always be, though, we want to win the league. We're going to try and aim to win the league. Can you do that by bringing 5 of these kids into the squad? I'm not so sure. Alan Hansen famously said it, you can't win anything with kids. You can, but the team around them needs to be Roy Keane, Peter Schmeichel, Gareth Bale, Steve Bruce, Eric Cantona. I don't think we have that luxury at the minute to be challenging for titles and also bringing through a golden generation. So we're going to have to be patient. If that's the way the club are going to go, got to be patient with the kids. Allow them to make mistakes. Don't expect to win every game.
I think that's a fair point. I do think as well, like the booing or the sighing when they make a mistake, I do think they have to experience that, because their entire career isn't going to be a bed of roses. There's going to be difficulty. Shea Lacey got sent off last season, remember, for throwing the ball down. So for petulance, that would have taught him a lesson there. And I think it's all part of the growing process. Manchester United fans, by and large, especially the ones that are in Old Trafford, will back every single player that pulls on that red shirt. Every single one of them, from an Angel Di Maria to a JJ Gabriel, they will back every single player that plays in that team, and it's something that they all need to go through. Some of them won't always make it, but the one thing that they can count on is they'll be backed by the fans in that stadium. But you're right, I don't think currently Manchester United do have a strong enough spine from forward to goalkeeper to be able to go, right, we can put Jim Thwaites in here for this FA Cup game next to this person because we know our spine is going to be strong and we've got depth in it. I think we've got Lammonds. I think he's solid. I don't know if he's a leader, but I think he's pretty solid. Then you've got Maguire, but he's aging. We talked about two boys before, Dillit and Martinez. If they can stay fit, then yes, you've got another part of the spine there that can help. Midfield, missing, mate. We haven't got a strong midfield. We haven't got a Casemiro in there. We haven't got someone that's been there and done it, which is, that's what we're crying out for right now. Crying out for that type of position. And then up top, you got Bruno. I get it. Yep, Bruno behind the striker. But then up front, it's that spine. It's just there's leaky discs in it. Leaky discs
Questions.
in that spine. Yeah.
Questions. Yes. Yeah. It's I get what you're saying with the spine. It's there's never a perfect time to throw in kids, though, is it? There's never it's never going to be perfect. Oh, we're flying here. Bring a kid. Yeah. No, you've got to give them a go sometime, or you end up selling them like Harry Mass. It looks like he's on his way out, and we don't want to be selling the likes of Shea Lacey, JJ Gabriel, James Waits, Noah Ajayi, and the rest of the kids. You have to keep putting them in there. There's a lot more talent in this United team, in this youth system. So, never going to be perfect time. You've got to take a gamble now and then.
Yes, very much so. I think we're kind of at a crossroads with Manchester United as fans right now, where we do want to see new signings, but at the other part of this, at the other end, is like, I'd love to see a load of these kids make it at Manchester United and come through and just be, the next stars of the future. And we haven't had to go out, and we've got Real Madrid knocking at the door asking for JJ Gabriel. We've got Arsenal, Chelsea, Man City coming with their millions and asking for Jim Thwaites. They want to bring in because their midfield isn't good enough. That's what I'd love to see. But right now, United need to get their first team squad in order. I think you do that by going into the market. I think we still need experience, definitely in central midfield. But can United recreate the class of 92 with what they've currently got? Yeah, I think they can. It's just going to take some bravery. Carrick's kids loading. That's what I'll say. Right, on that bombshell, that's the end of the show today. Do keep putting your comments into the underneath the video. Paul's laughing because we did have some, I would say, constructive criticism on a few of the clips, which was fun, pointed, I would say. But yeah, it's all welcome. So I'm not too fussed about that. But yeah, do leave a comment down there, even if you're on listening to this on a podcast. Leave a review as well, because every time you leave a review, it goes into the feed where more people get to listen to it. So there we go. Just past, what was it, 700,000 views on YouTube. So yeah, it's going all right. It's going okay, mate. We're doing well.
Just be nice, please. This world is built on being nice. Everyone's mean.
Don't say exactly what you want.
We can take it though, to be fair. Yeah, say what you want. We can take it, can't we?
Exactly.
Nathan can anyway. He doesn't tell me. Just so they get called again.
It's fine. It's fine. You can say what you want. Just keep it clean. That's all. That's all we ask. We'll go to the PSG game. Is coming up this weekend. So we will be back again next week to talk about how we beat PSG.